Today we'll be reviewing and installing one of the most important mods that you need for your rig. Sorry about that. That's better. And this is everything we got. We got our sliders, our top hat, our bolts to mount it to the frame, and our bolts to mount the top hat to the slider. And on here we got a nice little QR code that links to RCI's install guide. For anyone new to the off-road community and wondering why almost every decked out rig has these glorified steps to get in the vehicle, I assure you that these serve a higher purpose than just easier access to that roof rack. These are pure steel, ready to cut through the rockiest terrain and protect your vehicle in some of the most vulnerable points. And without these, a simple weekend trip can turn into quite the expense. Now, why did I choose the RCI sliders? These have the perfect balance between strength, weight, availability, and price point. Now let's not waste any more time and go get these installed on my 4Runner. All right, sorry we're gonna have a little bit of background noise just because we got a freeway right behind me, but we have all the tools we need here to install our sliders. We got all of our hardware and bolts right there. Then we got all of our tools, which we got a 10, 12, 13, and a 17 millimeter deep and shallow socket, along with a 5/32 Allen key. Then over here we got just some specialty tools, which include our tap and die set, just to clean up those old threads. And then we also have a blowtorch that just helps get off any of those OEM bolts. It's not necessary, but it does make your life a little bit easier. And then my car originally came with the XRES system, but because I replaced mine with the Dobinson MRRs, we're gonna be getting rid of that today. And RCI does offer an option to actually still be able to use that OEM XRES system, but you have to custom order those. And for removing that XRES, we have a flathead screwdriver just to use as a pry bar, and then we're gonna be getting rid of it the lazy way, so I got some snippers over there. And let's get to the install. All right, and we're gonna start with removing our XRES system, which is gonna be about 3 bolts on here, and then I think there's about 2 bolts behind it. And we're just gonna start with hitting it with some PB Blaster, just to loosen up those bolts. And take our 12 millimeter wrench and just break these loose. Now we're good to take them all the way off. All right, now that we got all 3 of those off, this should be able to move out now. And now our lines are still connected right now, and you can remove them, but we're just gonna go ahead and cut them off. So I'm gonna go grab my snippers and we'll get right back to that. All right, and we're just gonna be making 2 cuts. We're gonna make one right up here, close to the frame, then one back there, close to the back of the frame. Just take our snippers and breaks off just like that. Or come back here and do our rear one. All right, now with all that removed, now we just got to take off this plate and hit that with some PB Blaster and see if these ones come off just as easy. Nice and easy. All right, now with all those removed, now we got to remove all these hose lines for our XRES system. And I just like to put a screwdriver down there, push back, and they just snap right off. All right, now with all of our XRES system removed, next we'll remove this 12mm bolt that just holds on our emergency brake line here. We're just gonna hit that with some PB Blaster real quick. Get this one off. All right, now that we got that removed, we're just gonna flip this up and put this out of the way for now. And now is where our tap and die set comes in handy. Any of these threads that we're gonna be reusing, I'm gonna quickly hit that with a tap set, just to make sure that our new bolts are gonna thread in just nicely. If not, that's okay, these will still work. It just makes your life a little bit easier. So I'll get that done real quick and we'll get right back. All right, now my tap and die set, the handle doesn't actually fit in here and clear the body. So we're gonna be using this adjustable crescent wrench, and that will just have to do for today. But I thread it in just as much as I can by hand, and then just give it some nice turns. I like to move it back and forth just to work through all that grime. Now this thread is nice and prepped for our new bolts. All right, now that we got all of our threads retapped and ready, we're gonna get 2 of these bolts ready, and we're just gonna lift up the sliders and just get 2 of these on just to hold it in place while we do the rest. And it's a lot easier with 2 people or a jack, but we're just gonna be lifting it up with our legs today. And then also, to fully install your sliders, you do have to remove your skid plate, but we're a little crammed for time today, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do that another day and just show you what it looks like on the other side. All right, now that we got those 2 bolts through, you don't want to tighten them down all the way until we have all of our bolts put in. So I'm going to go ahead and thread the rest of them, and we'll be right back. And now for this last bolt, we're gonna flip down that emergency brake line, and we're gonna line that up, and our bolt's just gonna go right through it. All right, now with all of our bolts just slightly threaded in, we're gonna take our 13mm and we're just gonna get them a little bit tighter. Now you still don't want it tight because we still want to be able to move the slider around to get the rest of these bolts through, but we just want to get it a little bit closer. All right, now we're gonna get our long bolts through here, and the way these are gonna be orientated is they're gonna go through the frame. These have this little box here that will lock it in place on the slider. And on the other side, we're gonna have this big washer, this smaller washer, locking washer, and then our nut. All right, now without removing our skid plate, we're going to be getting this bolt will go right through our frame here. And go on the other side here now. Put on our larger washer, our smaller one, locking, and then our nut. And then once again, we don't want these to be fully tightened yet, just loose and in place. And then we'll tighten them all at the same time at the very end. Now on this one, for lack of space, I'm just putting on the larger washer and then the smaller one, just because we don't really have much thread to work with here to get that locking washer on. Now on this one, I'm going to put down our larger washer first and then feed the bolt through, just because we got some lines in the way over here. And then from there, it's just going to be that same washer orientation. Now with all of our bolts through, we're going to take that 13mm again, and all of these bolts we're just going to finish tightening all the way down. Now we're going to move from the back all the way to the front. That's the nice thing about using our tap and die set, is these threads can just go in by hand now. They're nice and brand new. All right, now with all those tightened down, we're going to go grab our 17mm. We're going to get these longer bolts all cinched up. All right, now this one is a little bit more challenging because the brake lines get in the way, but with my socket, I was able to get enough teeth on it just to get it cinched down. It won't be fully tightened without removing these brake lines, but it should be good enough for today. Now over here is where our 17mm shallow comes in handy, just because you're going to be running into clearancing issues with your catalytic converter, and it's just a little bit easier with this shorter socket. All right, now that we got that slider all installed, we're going to install this top plate here. And the tools we're going to need is a 10mm socket. Now we're going to use an extension bit and our impact driver just to make it a little bit easier and quicker. Then we're going to grab our 5/32 Allen key. Going to get this plate up. And we're going to start just by getting one installed. And you're going to take your bolt, your washer, push that through. Now we're going to take our nut and go on the bottom end and thread it on by hand. Grab our 10mm. Actually, and get one on the other side real quick before fully tightening that down. Just so we know it's all lined up. Now I actually misspoke. It is a 12mm, not a 10mm. All right, guys, and we got our sliders all the way bolted up now, and these things look awesome. I was super impressed with the quality, super easy to install. RCI provided us with all the hardware we needed, and here's what they're going to look like when they're all bolted up down here. We got that 13mm up there with some of our longer bolts. And that's what it looks like with the brake line mounted up there. Now moving around to the other side. We got it mounted up just like this. Those up front. Up in the rear. Now, like I said, these were super easy to install. I was super happy with them. I'm super excited to take them out on the trails and go give these things a test run. And thank you guys for watching till the end here. I hope that this was at least somewhat helpful or informative to help you guys get some new sliders. Now head over to 4R Customs and pick yours up today.